Tashi Delek, and welcome to the third lecture of the chapter The Making of Global World. So before I proceed with the third part or third lecture, let me revisit the topic that we have discussed so far in the second lecture. So in the first lecture, we discussed the meaning of globalization. So globalization means it is a movement of things, movement of people, and movement of services from one nation to another. So globalization is not a new phenomena or it is not a new situation because this movement of people and things and even the services took place even during the ancient times. And then in the second lecture, we discuss about the pre-modern world. So pre-modern world means it is a period before the modern world came into being. Here, we mainly discuss about the ancient period. So in pre-modern world, some of the most important things are Silk Route. Silk Route is one of the oldest and it is one of the most important route that exists during the pre-modern world. Silk Route is popular for the transportation of goods from one region to another. Not only that, Silk Route is also very helpful for the cultural exchange. That is, a large number of religions were spread through this route. Not only that, even the food traveled from one region to another through the Silk Route. And then we discuss about the diseases during the pre-modern world. So diseases were used as a weapon by a powerful country to colonize another country. We have taken the example of America, right? America was conquered by Spain by using a weapons like smallpox. That is a disease, right? Then we discuss about the trade in the pre-modern world. So the main trading center in the pre-modern world was the Indian Ocean, in which China and India were the two most important players. Later, the European country, they found a sea route to America and Asia. Because of that, a large number of European countries started taking part in the Indian Ocean trade. Because of major participation from the European countries in the Indian Ocean trade, later the trading centers shift from the Indian Ocean to the Europe side. And then we discuss about the migration in the pre-modern world. So migration means it is a movement of people from one region to another. During pre-modern world, a large number of European people started migrating or started moving to America. That was mainly because of three reasons. First reason was it is because of a poverty and hunger. Second was because of the religious conflict. And third was because of diseases. So these are the three reasons that has forced European people to migrate to America to have a better living standard. So that was the quick recapitulation of the topic that we have discussed so far in the chapter The Making of Global World. Now let me proceed with the third topic, that is the 19th century, in which we are going to discuss the period from 1815 to 1914. So 19th century is considered as one of the most important period in the history. That is because a large number of changes took place during the 19th century. That is, changes in the social. Social means society. And then there's changes in the political. Political means government. And then there's changes in the economic. And then there's changes in the technology. So since this large number of changes took place in all these things, this has brought a large number of changes in the world. So during 19th century, three flows were very important. Three flows or three movements were very important. These three flows were flow of trades, flow of capitals, and flow of labors. So flow of trades. Flow of trade means it is a movement of goods from one nation to another. So goods can be of any types. It can be wheat, it can be cloth, and it can be rice. Second flow is flow of capitals. So flow of capital means flow of money from one nation to another. So flow of capital happens when the investment are done over long distance. Investments lana kala lana nganzu ki tosun tangwala wa ta nganzu pesha the movement kandes chire lana an chilo ke gam ni chala nyua embarosina nganzu ki pesha tosun tangorwa di chikpu member ngaranzu ki chala chi ke gabla tanga embarosina nganzu dila pesha tosun tangorwa khasin lana an transportation cost Tichuro nganzugi transportation gi and fees some tioro nganzo di chikpu member and chi ge gab nanglo la ngarang chugi production ji chen barujina chi ge gab nangla ngarang chugi chala ji swe barujina ani phaila factory sawajik syore sajin nyore ani phaila nganzugi machine nyore ani phaila nganzugi transportation facilities sama eren shura di chidu nganzu pesha dosong mangbo tangorwa di la khalore flow of capitals laor. And the third flow is flow of labors. So flow of labor means flow of people or a movement of people from one nation to another. So flow of people happens or a movement of people happens mainly in search of job. So people move from one nation to another mainly because of in search of job. Because of these three flows, a large number of changes took place in the world. So, world economy takes shapes. During 19th century, the world economy changes. Zamningi economic debate koronkachiri change sharelo. The economic means here we are talking about the production and the consumption. Production chala tang consumption use chair yana saya hausa dinang lugyuwa mongbush. Food production and consumption was changing in Europe. So during 19th century, food production share than food consumption share nang like yo mongbush tere. Majority of country wanted to be self-sufficient in food. Country mangcho kwang the self-sufficient chain tours. Self-sufficient means they wanted to grow their own food and they wanted to eat their own food. They do not want to depend on other country for food, which means they do not want to import food from other countries. So one example is Britain. Britain is a country which wanted to be self-sufficient in food. Because of that, they has introduced a new law called Corn Law. And this Corn Law was introduced in 1815 and it lasted till 1846. Under this Corn Law, the Britain has stopped importing food items from other countries to Britain. Corn Law nang la Britain ki khachirela na chi ge gapne ani khala ki le food items import share the bad consumption because they wanted to be self-sufficient in food, because they wanted to grow their own food and they wanted to eat their own food. But Corn Law was not a successful chayomare. Britain failed to be self-sufficient in food. Let's see how. When the Corn Law was implemented lana laglin tarwala orwa Corn Law they passed chidwale and Britain nanglola a large number of situation mangbuchi gyuathir. That is, during this period there's increase in the population path krom mangdur mimbor mangdur duwe gengi there's increase in demand for food ki demand path krom mangdur. When there's increase in demand for food, the prices of food increase. Food ki prices samapat ko increase char. Since there is increase in the prices of food, a large number of people fail to afford this. Especially the poor people and the common people. Dinduala, a large number of people started protesting the government to abolish the Corn Law. Corn Law the male soyers, kajin lana Britain nanglo yugyo ki farm samagi food ki prices samapat ko increase char. Dinduala ani kunja khala new to gomar. Now, Britain was in a phase where the starvation was about to happen, right? Starvation legi chances shukchumbush ler. Starvation la nakalaure khala marani shia tokshige gi tujis le start shir. Dimmali nge la khachire lamsang koron Britain government ki Corn Law di khachire measure abolish. Once the Corn Law was abolished, there is a continuous import of food from the other country at much cheaper rate. Kekab shimbani and food item import share start here. And these foods were of cheaper rate as compared to the food which are available in the Britain. So, since food imports increase, there is increase in the consumption of food. Britain because now they can afford because the food are of cheaper rate. Not only that, there's increase in demand for food. Food ki demand pat kor matter. Now the Britain farm could not compete. Britain ki farm sangaya and compete competition because the food which are imported from the other countries are of cheaper rate. Because of that, in Britain, a large number of land were left uncultivated. Britain nanglola such a mangbuchi shinga matab ni shares, tundo matab ni shares. Kajinana kunzo competition chitu omar. Chilo ni kilegyo food items and pimise gong cure. That the competition chimatu to an kunzigi shinga matab ni shashar. Tundo matab ni shares. Since the land were left uncultivated, a large number of people lost their job in the farming. Shinglan anglola and lagache kachire badkoro lagatsama meochar. And because of that, a large number of unemployment increased in Britain. Britain nanglola lega megyo mangpuchi mi mangpuchi lega megyo char. And because of that, a large number of people migrate to the other countries. Britain ni and country shimba mangpuchi la migrate chir. At the same time, during this period, there was the industrial growth. Industry nanglola yargi shukchimbustur. Industry mangbuchi gotsu. Dinduala and mi mangbuchi la lega raya start chir. And because of industrial growth, there was also a higher income for the people. Mimala income ma raya start chir. Because of that higher income, a large number of people demanding more food. Food path demand ma start chir. Okay. The dingy electrons karigocho orelna, Britain ki and food mangbuchi import chidwa, gekab shimban import chidwa. Di khani chiorlana, food are imported from Eastern Europe, America, Russia, and Australia. These are many food import chur. That this hamala and Britain ki food demand ma chidu alakunse kachire. In order to fulfill the food demands from the Britain, a large number of land were cleared in America, Australia, and Russia. This such a such a saw mangbuji start chir. In order to carry out the cultivation, pile shingle chechi the such a saw mangbuji ani kajire is. Not only that, railway tracks were laid down to supply food to the port. Railway tracks saw mangbuji so that these food from the farm can be transported to the port area. Port area padula keorwa transport chura. Dichido ani railway tracks saw mangbuji is. Not only that, during those times, new ports were built. Ports saw mangbuji. The port lana khala dilaur. These are the place where the ship rests. Ship stop chisagi saji de la khalaure ani nganzu ports laur. Tanda nganzu gi bus sama stop chisala khala ido nganzu gi bus station leidwa. Ani railway sama ani stop chisa de la khala ido train stop chisa de la nganzu gi railway station leidwa. Thara neshi nganzu gi ship sama stop chisa saji de la khala ports laur. Ani the ship paila stop kachin chiore dinanglo la chala ya lure yana chala ma papkirwa yana dinangla mi nanglo jue yana mi ma thingirwa hosa mi ya ma ke da chala ya ma ke la phento gora ship ki this chidu ani new ports mangbuchi built chires and then old ports were expanded port ningba samo khonju kya che tangge lor. Okay, so that there will be a smooth transportation of food from one region to another. Sajijing ni chigla the smooth transportation yung ai chidu khala lamsa ani di yung ai chidu ani kunzu gi changma twingi di jar relor. Okay, even though a large number of lands were cleared for cultivation, a large number of railway tracks were built or constructed, and then new ports were constructed and the old were expanded. But during those times, there was shortage of labor in America and Australia. Australia da America nanglola lega chingi pimisin mingyur. Labor pimisin mingyur. Ta din duwa la khachire din nanglola lega chigala chilo gegab ni mimangbuchi pyenchimush leres. This led to a large-scale migration, large-scale movement of people from other countries to America and Australia. Especially 150 million European people migrate to America in search of job. America nanglola 19th century gitu jegala mi khajilere 150 million European people America na ler. Khajilere lagatsialeres. Now, we will discuss all these in this flow chart. So during 19th century, there was a growth of population. At the same time, there was a urbanization. Urbanization means there's a development of cities. City mangbuchi architectures. Okay, and then there's industrialization. Industrialization means there's a development of industry. Industry architectures. Digala industry saw mangbush go to start chires. Because of all these things, there is demand for food grain. Food item the demand path ko is. Since there's increase in demand for the food item, the prices of the food grain increase. Food grain ki prices sama pat kora increase chades, especially in Britain. Britain na increase chadu wala, and Britain started importing food from the other countries like America and Australia. America, Australia, Russia ni khalai khile start chiswa. Now you can see that there is a flow of goods. Dinaka chidu goods flow chidwa. Corn flow chidu ani America da Australia, Russia ni ani kari dudu food item khala dudu ani Britain na tour, Europe na tour. The America da Australia na la ani the food grain the production ma churwa chu yudu gala demand ma li do la kunja khari godu they need require lana khari go lana they need more land for the cultivation chidu such a ma godwa such a ma samasyo godwa and then they need more railway tracks and then they need also new ports are mo bush godwa din dola dil sangma laga che chidu la khari gore they need labor godwa. But in America and Australia, there was a shortage of labor shortage twa. And din duala so a large number of European people started migrating to America. America nangula mi mangbushi to start chiswa. Now you can see that there is a flow of people. Dinangula and mi mangbushi yama draw thungudwa flow of people chaswa. Okay. Now, in order to clear the land for cultivation, or in order to set up a railway station, or in order to set up a railway tracks, or in order to set up a new ports, a large number of money has to be invested. Pesha mangbushito sondangurwa di samachidu. Dinduala anikachuso there is a flow of money. Pesha mangbushi flow chawur. Okay, so we can see that there is involvement of these three flows during the 19th century. The second subtopic that I'm going to discuss now is the technological invention. So technological invention means introduction of new technologies. So during 19th century, a large number of new technologies were introduced. These are railways, steamships, and telegraph. Coming of these technology has improved the life of the people in the 19th century. Not only that, it has also helped specifically for the trade expansion. It has made the trading system a more faster. Railways. Railway helps to connect hinterlands to the port. So those areas which are located away from the coastal area or the ocean, these are connected to the port with the help of the railways. And then steamships. Steamship helps to transport a large number of goods across the ocean. And then telegraph. Coming of telegraph has fastened the communication between the traders and between the people. So the coming of this technology has, expanded trade. We will discuss one example here. We will discuss here how the coming of technology has improved the trade in terms of meat. So till 1870s, animals were shipped alive from America to Europe. Since live animals were taken through the ship, live animals took lots of space in the ship. Not only that, since these animals has to travel a vast distance from America to Europe, on the way a large number of animals fell ill. Some died and some lost weight and some become unfit to eat. Because of that, when these animals reach Europe at that time, meat become a very expensive one, or it become a luxury items. Only the rich people can afford this because of its high prices. All these changes after the coming of refrigerator ship. So refrigerator ship means those ship which have the refrigerator facility. Through this refrigerator, the meat can be transported over long distance. As you know that meat is a perishable goods. Shalai di nganzu ru chojo Rue du gala nganzu isha di tharing bu tang tung marwa. The refrigerator ship ani nganzu isha di tharing bu tang tung rwa. Kachin lana refrigerator nangdola sha di ru chu marwa. Preserve chini shairwa. So, arrival of refrigerator ship has enabled the meat to transport over long distance. Now, the animals were slaughtered in America, Australia, and New Zealand. Simje starting korani se shakota America, then Australia, New Zealand se. Ani shadi refrigerator ship na lurwa ani Europe like kitwar. Now, because of the meat has reduced the shipping cost. Meat depend koron size chunga yuduala live animal da meat ki compare na size kangi chere live animal size cherwa meat size chunga yorwa di indola meat ki ani size chunga yidugala shira space sawo marwa space shira cover chigo mar di indola sha mangbuji ani refrigerator ship nanglola ani khachi dore mangbuji transport chito di kenge ani shipping cost nyunga yongor shipping cost and transportation cost nyunga yongor di kenge ani meat ki prices sama bad ko fall down char yana meat ki prices sama bad ko reduce char. Then now you can see that coming of refrigerator ship has reduced the prices of meat. So that was the example of how coming of technology has reduced the prices of meat. The third subtopic that I'm going to discuss now is called End of 19th Century or Colonialism. So far, we have seen the brighter side of the 19th century. That is, there's a growth in trade, growth in market, and then there's growth in the cities, and then there's growth in the industries, and then there's introduction of new technologies. If you look at the other side, you can see the darker side of the 19th century. That is colonialism. So colonialism means it is a control of an advanced and stronger nation over weak and backward nation. colonialism lana khala lana gegap topshu chimpu chigi ani gegap chunju indu do yana gegap pemese an topshu chunju indu do dinde sangma kan la ngawo de la khala lana colonialism laur. So colonialism started at the end of 19th century. Under the colonialism, the colonial lose their right. Colonialism kala khachungore ngawo dusa jirwa dila khala ore colonial laura konju ki topdang sangma mya charur and they have to suffer a lot. Konju pemese suffer shur. Now we will discuss one example here, that is Africa. So Africa is a continent which has a large number of land resources and minerals. Land resources are mineral. Because of that, a large number of European powers or European powerful countries were attracted to Africa. And they also tried to establish cultivation and mining in Africa because of its large land resources and minerals. European gi powerful countries sama path kora Africa semba shurur. Kajin lana Africa nanglo la sajak pimise kachin buyuri nyamdula paila ter pimise mangbuyur. Ta dii kingi khonsu gi khari try chiwore paila shingata be try chiwor. Ani khonsu gi paini ter tuya gi try chiwor. Yinia unluckily the European fails to get labor in Africa. Africa nanglo la khonsu gi cultivation che da mining che la khonsu la khari gore ta shingata be dang ani ter tuya chi to khonsu la labor gorwa. But they are not getting a labor in Africa. Africa na labor rawumar. Pimisi new mash rawumar. Kajin labor rawumar elana. African rarely work for the wages. Africa na denye gi mi sama African sama pesha tundala lega orchi womar. Rarely lana pimisi new res. Pesha tundala lega chi pimisi new res. Mi majority sama ani nangla deor. Kondo chilo la lega chi womar. Wages lana pesha laurwa. Salary laurwa. Dindi tundala lega chi yindo yomar. Because Africans were self-sufficient. Africans are self-sufficient here. With the animal rearing. Kachin kunzu self-sufficient here with the animal rearing. Kunzu kachore semje sogyon chur. Semje sogyon chidu ala kunzu la goya yugot sangma semje niragor. Saya duya sangma semje niragor. Dindo kunzu chilo la laga chiegi dindi nedang koro chawomar. Ta dindo la European sangma la paila mining dang ani kala plantation nang lo lega chini rawumar ta dindo la kunju khachire the European force African people to work. European ge African people samala force chiya jo ta lega chiu yolani and the khades force chirela na technique sum use chini kunju force chi. Number 1 is huge tax imposed. Tax permissive increase chishar kunju gi Hausa namgyu tax kumu gyalingi na and kunju khachire kumu ngap kya chikdong in the social ani these huge taxes can be paid only by the people working in the plantation and the mining sector. Mining the plantation nala lega chingi gi mi sama gi mashi dictate to omar. Huge tax di ani pay chi to omar. Dindi tinjik sur konzui. Niwa di khachire inheritance law change. Inheritance law di change. So inheritance la nakhala lana tanganzu gi nang lo la head di khachadu re pala chadu wa. Ta nang nang lo la pala thongwa dujina ngoma tuje la Africa nang lo la pala thongwa dujina an nang gi saja chimbo yorwa di saja di nang mi changma la ragor para thongsa wichela Tatanda European samagi team sawa jiksur. Dina khalare pala thongwa rujina, nangi pala thongwa rujina, ani nangmi chigla mashi di saja di rai meta, thoptang di rai meta laur. Ta di indu nangmi shemba sama saja mewa chaswa. Ta di indu khunzo khachore, they have to work in the mining or plantation sectors. Ta dinde khunzo gi ani khachire technique chik use cheer European samagi. And the third one is those people who are working in the mining and the plantation sectors, right? The African kashi lia chinye yor la sa mining da plantation or di lia chinye changma la khunzo la ani freedom shira te omar khunzo la rawa yomar. They were confined within the campus. Lia chisa nanglo khoron so la khunzo shasha or khunzo chilo lo thuin chu omar. Why they were not allowed to move outside the campus or outside the boundary, that is because the European feared that these people might run away if the freedoms were given to them. Konzo la freedom te wado jino konzo show do re samgor. An konzo show wado jino konzo la chingi ra marwa. Di indu la chingi sama konzo boundary chig nanglo la ka ni sha sha. So these are the three methods or techniques which were used by the European powers to force African people to work in the mining and the plantation sectors. Why they are forcing African people to work in the plantation and the mining sector? Because if they, if they import people from the other countries, mi chilo ke gabne, hausa Europe da America da dindini mitsu ya kile warujina ani pesha toson mangbosh turwa. Africa corona lo yugo gi mitsama la chiju warujina pesha toson shira du marwa la mashte marwa tsu ya ma la te marwa. So that was the main reason. So despite bringing a large number of techniques, they were not satisfied with this, and at last they spread the rinderpest, a cattle disease, in Africa in 1880s. European power samay khachire ni technique mangpuchi use chiswa dila toba khingoma khunje khachire. At last they spread a cattle disease in Africa nangla and cattle disease simji ki naza ji khachire khunje ki spread lana khalore temperature 1880s nangla khachini tamre lana, because you know that the cattle is the main income of the African people, right? African samagi livelihood kunjo ki mize de ke de khare la depend chini ke do kunjo ki simje la ta gyong chini ke do raya sama kunjo khawan rai do simjin rai do simje sama se shawa rojina naza ke ngi se shawa rojina shiwa rojina ani kunjo la income rai marwa income mara na kunjo khashore, then they don't have any other choice than to work in the plantation and mining sectors. So ani di rinderpest lai di ani di nasa di cattle disease di khadu spread chiyalana, it was spread in 1880s and it entered fast in the Africa, in the eastern part. Africa ki eastern part ni thangshu juler, that means di nasa di spread chir, and then it moved to the western part of the Africa like a forest fire, right? Africa ki eastern side ni and spread chirda lamsang horo namgyung anju ki singna le me di chi dwa singna le me paro do china lamsang whoop landu da tharang na shi and din naza de lamsang horo quickly spread chires kawal spread chire na western part of the Africa la lamsang horo spread chires ani di jela kawal spread chire ani southern part of the Africa ki southern part samada spread chires. It reached Africa Atlantic coast in 1892. Africa ki Atlantic coast like Atlantic coast la nakalaure the Atlantic Ocean area you dila 1892 nangla leres. And then it reached the Cape 5 years later. Cape la nakalaula na nganju west side chidwa. Hausa southern side chidwa de la khadu lerla na and longa chela leres, which means 1897 nangla and southern part nangla dinaza di spread chir. The pi eastern ni western side la do ani dinan Atlantic Ocean side la do and deni khawla spread chiso wapa the spread chiswa dindu wala these cattle disease spread in the entire Africa is such a changmala spread chir. Because of that 90% of the cattle were killed on the way. Simje khaju seshare Africa nanglola simje 100% nanglo ni keja kupchu seshar ta keja khaju mashlayo mare only 10% cattle were left. 90% cattle samassejar. The cattle sesha origina, the Karishungre, it destroyed the livelihood of the people in Africa. Africa nala yogi meet sangmaki livelihood. Hausa kunzugi mitituen sajura, manga the debenchi sajura, did sangma mea sejar. African lost their livelihood. The kunzugi miseke sajura. main depend chisa the tsangma lost here. African were left with no choice but to work in plantation and mine. The African samala choice yomare and plantation the mining sector na alachir. Not only that, I have told you 10% of cattle were left. 10% cattle higher lasa. The 10% cattle this sugi control shishare European powers samagi and control shisha. The Dinduala, thus with cattle disease, the European colonized Africa. European ki kachire power samagi Africa de and finally colonized shir. Okay, once they are done with the colonization in 1885 naulala European powers. The dingin on the European powers ladimba Europe ki powerful country mangbujur Germany, Spain, Belgium, France, Great Britain, Netherlands, Portugal. Kunza sangma sacha khawala zomre Berlin la sacha chikla zomre. Why they met in the Berlin? That is because now they wanted to divide the Africa between them. Africa ngawo dusarwata kunzo kachere kronzo kimala koshi gers. So they met in the Berlin. That dina question kari yong see there. Ani 19th century naolola European power susu yorelana Europe naolola powerful country susu yorelana Germany, Spain, Belgium, France, Great Britain, Netherlands, Portugal. And then question might ask like why the European powers met in Berlin in 1885. They met in 1885 in Berlin to divide Africa between them. The last subtopic that I'm going to discuss now is called indentured labor. So indentured labor are those labor who are hired. Hired means who have been paid money to do a particular job. And they have to sign a contract. Contract means they have to sign a document in which the labor have to promise that they will work for a particular period of time. Usually the indentured labor have to work for 5 years. Indentured labor are recruited lana lega saatsu alaura lega tsungi sure lana agents. So agents are those person who were hired by the employer or who were paid by the employer to get labor for the employer. Employer ki pesha tesha gyo mi khashishir. Agent ki main language so dikhare lana employer la labor chedir. Hausayana they have to get labor for the employer. Now you can see that agent is the middleman person between the employer and the labor. Chinda dan lega chingi kimala connection suyin chirwa. This is an agent. So in the 19th century, hundreds and thousands of Indian and Chinese labor, they went to a faraway place to work in plantation, mining, and road and railway construction. So most of the Indian indentured labor came from the present region of Kyarki Indian indentured labor laidwa the khani legore lana mangchawa Eastern Uttar Pradesh ni legore Central India ni legore and dry district of Tamil Nadu. So these are the three areas from where the Indian indentured labor has come from. So the reason, what are the factors which are responsible for the Indian indentured labor? Kyarki and saja deni khajini mi mangpuchi saja shimbala lega chikatuyores. That is because of few reasons. That is because of few problems faced in this area. This saja samana la kangi khashish thedur. Di kengi deni mi mangpuchi and chilola lega chikatuyur. That is, number one is decline in cottage industry. In this area, this saja samana la cottage industry sangma nyamja tuyur. Because of introduction of large industry. Industry chimbo mangbush ledu ala cottage industry thama popular new achar. Di kengi a large number of people become unemployed. Unemployed lana lega mewachar. Because of that, a large number of people started moving to the other countries. Second one is that increase in land rent. Land ki rent di batkura increase char. And because of that also a large number of people started moving outside the India. Third one is shortage of land. In this area, the shortage of land was felt because a large number of land were cleared for mining and plantation. Saja mangbushi kharchi de changma sore mining the plantation chechu saja changma sure. Di kengi paina dengi mi changma land shortage chawor. Di kengi mi mangbushi saja yuni and konja saja shimbala daga chator. So where the Indian indentured labor they go to work to? So the main destination of Indian indentured migrants are Caribbean Islands, Mauritius, Fiji, and closer home they go to Sri Lanka and Malaya. Now you can see here, so these are the area where the Indian indentured labor go to work. Laga chisa sa jaga khalare ani dikhalare Caribbean Island. Caribbean Island our island chunju mo winter Caribbean Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname these are laga chador. They even go to Mauritius laga chador, Fiji laga chador. Ani nang damla nangi damla khala to Sri Lanka na laga chador. Ngoma Sri Lanka la khala na Ceylon law house Ceylon nan law and dichipo member Malaysia la mi mangbuji gyar gi mi mangbuji laga chador is house. But in the 19th century, indentured labor has been described as a new system of slavery. Mi mangbuchigi indentured labor di and slavery rishas, di yokotan chikpa chikyang rishas, ani dilak mangbuchi khachire against it. Khajin di ani yokotan chikpa chikyang risha lare lana because of few reasons. That is, living and working conditions are harsh. Indian indentured labor samagi and lega chegi nedang jwa working condition dan desa gi nedang di suma pimis chinansur di gi di slavery the chipachikyang de shala mi mawji ani workers samala they don't have any legal rights kunjala ani team gi ngene kunjala thoptang che yo mare hosa kunjala rights che yo mare. Not only that, they were paid less wages even though they work for a whole time pimis thujuring bula chmor da ini pesha nyu mas te omar. And they were treated as a slave. Kunjala treat kandichurla na yopuchi pichikang treat chur. Dinduala under these conditions surviving was difficult. Pile bath ko native pimisikal kapucharu. Kajin lana leka shimashi chichu in a patient news must omar. Dinam to la top down che yomare. Ani desa dan and sasat unsa sama pimisenedan cure. Dinduala kachire a large number of Indian nationalists. Kyagar ki leader mangbuchigi ani di kyagani ani chiro la lega chiga. Kya mi tangidwa di sama pimis shnanso reshas pimis dukja dulani and finally di tangai di samshar and Indian indentured labor like the finally meosures and it was abolished in 1921. So that was all about the 19th century. Now I have come up with few questions for the revision and you have to complete all these questions and you have to write answer for this. So there are 12 questions. Okay, so you have to write in your notebook. I hope you have understood. If not, then we will have a revision in the next, next lecture. Thank you.